Otherwise you'll get your meshes appearing at the head bone origin, which is where the widget currently is, inside the head. And it's the same for yeah, it's pretty much the same for everything actually. That so there's the ring box. Whoops, there's the ring box. So that is associated with the hand bone, which we were talking about earlier, which is this tiddly little thing. So that mesh is linked to the hand bone, which is at the wrist, so that when that is loaded into IMVU, it's positioned where it's supposed to be. You made poses for the ring box. Nice. So yeah, that's if you need more precision with your accessories and where they appear, then yes, you have to use the accessory starter file and link them up with the bones, the respective skeletons for each of the bones that you want the object to appear at, or you can do what we just did, which is just export the heart mesh, just a mesh. There's nothing else in that scene, nothing at all. Just export that and it will automatically latch onto wherever you put it. Just like that. Right. Any other questions or things that need to be solved with IMVU? Yeah, it's where to begin, Polly. Yeah. Oh, whilst you're here, Polly, yes, so don't know if you saw the previous things, but we were just making something that I think you would appreciate. It has de-handlebars. And it bobs up and down. Just very simple. Very cute, yeah. But we were just going over the way that you can. We did the animation and everything, but we were going over the way that you can trigger the animation. So you can either trigger it using a word that you type, as you know, by using stance, a word you type, stance.idle, or when you actually use a seat node. So we have 3 different ways, so we were just going through all of that. Lots of fun that you could have with all sorts of combinations. You could also, I haven't, it's been a while since I've tried this, but you could also add a morph animation to this, so that the exhausts, you know, they putt or they change shape to give some animation to the object itself. So that could be something else that you could do. I'll have a look into doing that, and then maybe do another stream with some morph animation, which doesn't get used very often. I might actually make it move around, but at the moment it's just for demonstration purposes only. We were just doing a simple bobbing up and down. Yeah, so I'll have a look at doing what we call shape keys in Blender, and then see how to do that, and then do a stream on that. Yes, you can animate a path in Blender, and using it's pretty straightforward actually. Well, you wouldn't necessarily need to animate a path, but if you wanted to, you can. But the advantage of this is one of the reasons why. Which one is it? Mark 13. So for doing something like that, if you wanted the object to, if you wanted the object to just move around, all we'd need to do for that is literally just animate a single node. You could make it follow a pathway. I'm not quite sure how that then translates to an exportable animation for IMVU from Blender. So you can make something follow a path, but I don't know what happens from the point of view of an export to FBX, and then how that's translated. I don't know what goes on there. I don't know the mechanism. So it might as well just be easier just to manually position it. Yes, like the turkey. So the turkey, where's the turkey? That was a furniture item. Where is the turkey? There's the turkey. So where is the... there we go, hop long. I think that's it. Yeah, so it's just it's not actually following a path. There is no, it's just been manually positioned. But the actual loop is just it's a control bone that does a loop, but then the chicken, the turkey bobbing up, and the turkey when it jumps is another animation. So when you obviously put those together in IMVU, you can have your hopping turkey in this instance on a loop, and then the pathway that it follows on a separate loop. And you just do the same thing with your well, it'd be the same thing for the Harter bike. So maybe this node would be the one that's moved. Whoops, not that node. That node. And that does whatever it needs to do. Although for that, you might need to set up two control nodes. One is the bobbing up and down, and the other one is the circular pathway, or whatever the pathway is, because I don't think you can have, well, you can have two sequences going at the same time, but if one is longer than the other will play out before the longer one is finished. So you'd have to set the object up with two controls that you are animating separately. Yes, so yeah, so it'll be the same thing with the sausage canoe. That's such a sausage canoe. That seriously does not sound like a product. Yes, a bone to bob and a bone to move, yeah. So that's how you would set up your object. Yeah, that's one of those instances where someone will make a clip of you saying sausage canoe. Hold on a moment whilst I load my sausage canoe into the room. Yes, so Liana, it creates, well, as we saw earlier, these other nodes don't have any animations associated with them. So when you're using nodes, as opposed to a skeleton with bones, the animation that's associated with the node is all that's exported. But when we import them into IMVU, all the animations are listed in the FBX importer. But that's one of the advantages of using FBX. FBX is very flexible from that point of view. It allows you to... Good tea, nice tea. Yeah, tea is awesome. But that's one of the things with using FBX. It allows you to use, for Blender users in particular anyway, it allows us much more flexibility in terms of how we export our objects, because we don't necessarily need to create complex structures that will not work if they're not set up correctly. No, that won't work if they are set up correctly. So FBX allows us the flexibility to do things like, as we just did earlier, the heart, and export that as just the mesh on its own, and we can use that. Yes, in Blender, I mean, I don't know how that works in Max, but if I load the turkey file up, so selecting, so this is what, using nodes and FBX, we can now make much more complicated products, because if you have a complex animation, let me select a different. So if you want to create a complex animation, you have to use a skeleton, because nodes are, they're kind of impractical. So you'd set up your skeleton to do whatever it is that you want the object to do, and that gives you a whole list of animations that you can create. So there's a lot for the turkey. I forgot I'd done that many. But instead of doing so it localizes the animation to the object itself, which then frees us up to use a node to do more global animation. But for Blender users, we have the ability to list like tons of animations, and these animations can be applied to multiple objects. So these sequences, although they're actually associated with the skeleton, which is an armature in Blender, even though there's a whole load of them that are specific to the armature, they can technically be applied to a node. It won't produce anything. It'll break the file when you export it. But the FBX system allows us that flexibility, so that we don't need to keep creating complex armatures and rigs with bones all over the place, that you have to have a bone to accommodate any sort of like the loop that we were looking at earlier. There would need to be a bone for that, and a bone for something else, and all sorts of other stuff, whereas with nodes we just create a node and away we go. Yes, it saves them all. They're all accessible once you create them, and there's quite a lot. I don't know if Max has an animation. I guess it'd be an animation manager. So I just assigned an animation from the armature to the node, but because there are no corresponding bones, air quotes, associated with the node, nothing happens. But associated with the armature, which has the corresponding bones, it'll do what it needs to do. Yeah, I don't know how Max handles animations. I mean, it's not just creating the animation, but like if you've got loads of sequences, I don't know how it works. Oh yes, it's all manually created. So for the turkey, we created a simple rig. So this is pose mode. So we created a simple rig and associated different parts of the mesh, as you do with the bones. So that's the head bone, that's the tail bone. We've got a couple of wing bones. Then there's one for the torso, which moves everything, and then there's one for the legs. And then you just, obviously, as you know, you just animate them. And that's a furniture item. Yeah, it's the same here, really. I think that's one of the problems that people have generally with not just creating stuff for IMVU, but creating content generally, is that they see all this amazing stuff and tend to overcomplicate or over egg the pudding. When, I mean, for example, all this turkey is just a simple skeleton with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bones. You don't need any more than that. I mean, you could, but for the purposes of what the character does in IMVU, there's no need to then add a bone for the eyes blinking or the beak opening, or it laying an egg. I don't know. Depends what you wanted to do. But that's the thing. It's people tend to over egg the pudding and add too much or make the thing too complicated when don't need to. Egg bone, yes. But that started. This turkey started from the furniture file in the same way that the Harter bike. Where's that gone? Number 13. So the same thing. I mean, for example, if you wanted the handlebars to have different positions, so when it's not being used, they fall flat or something, you'd have to rig the object up to have an actual skeleton like the turkey. Because we can't use nodes for that. Well, you can, but it doesn't work very well. Where's the turkey gone? So you'd have to create an actual skeleton to do something like that. So, for example, the 2 wing bones might be bones that are linked to the handlebars. And that would create a localized skeleton that's only associated with the mesh itself, leaving you your control bone to then loop around and move about for your motion. Turkey. Yeah. Well, yes. I mean, go and eat if you need to eat. We'll be calling it quits soon because the I think we've been going for about 2 hours now. I'm not quite sure because of the reset that we lost earlier. Yeah, thanks for dropping by, Black Wolf. And if you want the widget, just message me on message JazzCat on IMVU, and I'll send you a copy of the widget. Yeah, you're very welcome. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll take a look at doing some morph animation and then see if we can add, because what we could do with this is whoops, what did I just do? What we could do with this is change its size and maybe change its position and do some funny or some motion so that it's putting along. That'd be interesting to see, to add. Yeah, so I'll have a look at that and see if we can do some shape keys or morph animations, as they're called. Right, well, we've been going for nearly 2 hours or over 2 hours, I'm not quite sure, because of the restart that happened a while ago. So, chug chug, yeah, so whatever noise a heart makes, heartabite makes. Kind of reminds me of what's the Disney film? Is it Mary Poppins when they're racing on those? Is it the broomsticks? When they're in the cartoon land. Lub dub, yes. So yes, for the next stream, maybe tomorrow, or what is it tomorrow? Monday, so Tuesday. Either Monday, Tuesday. I'll take a look at doing some more animations. If not, this is pretty much a workable item. So once it's done, if you want to derive from it, message JazzCat me, and then gift it. Well, you don't have to gift it. How do you do that for the derivables? Can you gift a derivable? Yeah, it'll be good if you can, Polly, if you can join us. I'm doing my best to try and stick to this time frame. So it's between UK time, it's between 10 and 12, or midnight, 10 and midnight. So I'm not quite sure what time that is Aussie time. So that's 10. So you're about 10 hours ahead of us, I guess. So that's going to be quite, well, it's going to be early-ish in the morning for you, I guess. 8 a.m. Okay, that might be too early. I don't know. Yeah. So how do you? You're not gifting the item. You want to gift the ability to derive from it. How can we do that? I've never actually done that. Yeah, so for you it'd be between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. I guess. Right, give them credits. So that's so let me make a note of that. So I was just about to say that could mean that some creators might artificially bump up their tier points by gifting derivables to other people. But that's not really that much different from gifting products, is it, really? Right, paying for derives. Yeah. Because interestingly, that. I mean, that's a way of. I mean, granted, you can do it by gifting. You give the credits to the person that's going to derive from your item. But if you gifted a derivable, derivation, you could use that to encourage new users to create items. Because, you know, one of the major complaints, as we know, is new users bulk at the cost associated with deriving products, and some of them are obviously quite expensive. So oh, you have excellent. Well, keep the name to yourself and it'll be our secret. We don't want them inundated with all sorts of weird ideas. Right. No idea. I have absolutely no idea who that is. Right. All right then. Well, we'll on that note, we'll call it quits for today, and we shall see you tomorrow. So we have, well, tomorrow or Tuesday. We have a working item at the moment, but we'll have a look at morphs and see if we can add some morph animation. Right, okay then. See you tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by, everyone, and watching and seeing what's going on. Yeah. Cheerio.